Imagine an ordinary night, one of those when the sky seems nothing more than an immense black veil dotted with motionless lights. Now imagine that, in that apparent calm, Earth's radio telescopes pick up a pulse. Just one. An ordered, mathematical sequence that resembles nothing natural. No star, pulsar, or human-made radio interference could generate anything like it. A voice from space, perhaps decades or even centuries old, yet still vibrant and clear. Where does it come from? What does it say? And above all, who sent it? This is the scenario that the scientists of SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, not only hope for but have been preparing for over decades. A prospect that shakes the very foundations of our thought. If we are truly not alone, everything changes. Religion, politics, philosophy, science, each would be forced to answer a universal question. Are we ready to receive a message from another intelligence? The silence of the cosmos, which has accompanied us until now, might not be eternal. Perhaps the radio waves of other civilizations are already on their way toward us, slowed only by the vastness of space. Or perhaps they have already arrived, buried in data, ignored or misinterpreted. After all, statistical probability favors life. In our galaxy alone, there are hundreds of billions of stars, and according to the latest estimates, every star hosts at least one planet. Many of these are located in the so-called habitable zone, that distance from the star that allows the presence of liquid water, a fundamental prerequisite, at least for life as we know it. Within just a 100 light-year radius, a tiny cosmic fragment, we have already identified over 75 exoplanets. The total catalog today exceeds 6,000. Statistics like these make it seem inevitable that life has developed elsewhere, perhaps more advanced than ours, perhaps already extinct. And if it exists, why hasn't it contacted us yet? Perhaps because it already has. The SETI protocols were written precisely to face such an eventuality. Their first goal is to prevent impulsive reactions. If one day a radio telescope were to detect a suspicious signal, the protocols dictate rigorous analysis and verification as the first steps. The signal must not be immediately announced to the public. It must be studied to rule out interference, instrumental errors, or natural phenomena. Only after confirmation by independent observers around the world could one declare with certainty, it is not terrestrial. A striking example dates back to 2017, when the Arecibo radio telescope detected an anomalous signal from the star Ross 128. For a few days, it was thought that it might truly be proof of alien intelligence. The signal was regular, not attributable to any known natural phenomenon. But after deeper analysis, it was discovered to be produced by terrestrial geostationary satellites. A disappointment? Perhaps. But also proof that the scientific method works. If, however, one day such a signal were authentic, and confirmed by multiple observatories, the next phase would begin. Researchers would have the duty to inform the scientific community, the public, and the United Nations. From that moment, humanity would enter a new era. But what happens next? Here lies one of the most delicate and fascinating questions of our time: to respond or not? And if so, what to say? Responding to an extraterrestrial message is far more than a scientific decision. It is a political, cultural, and philosophical choice. A choice that could affect not only our present but also the future of distant generations. Because a message sent today might take centuries to reach its destination, and if we were to receive a reply, we might no longer be here to read it. The SETI protocol states that no message should be sent without prior international consensus. No government, no nation has the right to represent all humanity. A first contact is a global event, a shared responsibility. But that is the ideal vision. The geopolitical reality could be very different. Some states might wish to monopolize the information. Others might respond without consulting anyone. The risk is real. Moreover, what would our first message say? Should we present our history? Our discoveries? Our values? Would it be wise to offer all that to a civilization we know nothing about? And what if they were hostile, or simply incomprehensible? Many experts suggest adopting a cautious approach. Send a simple message based on universal concepts, such as mathematics or physics. A message that declares our existence but does not reveal too much. Yet even a cautious message would still be a declaration. We are here. An irreversible act that exposes us. And if extraterrestrials were far more advanced than we are? Our vulnerable position, our technologies, even our biology would become known. For this reason, some scientists propose that we continue only to listen, never to send. But such a position can seem cowardly, or worse, pointless. Perhaps the message has already been sent, intentionally or not. Indeed, since the discovery of radio waves, Earth has been broadcasting signals into space, TV, radio, radar transmissions. These signals, though weak and dispersed in every direction, could already have been picked up. Our technological signature can no longer be erased. But there is a difference between an accidental leak and a deliberate message. Being overheard is one thing, speaking is another. Thus we find ourselves in a paradox. On one hand, we want to know if we are alone. On the other, we fear the consequences of finding out. And it is within this fragile balance that the future of our species is being decided. In the end, the deepest problem is not technological but psychological. As a species, are we ready to see ourselves not as the center of the universe but as an infinitesimal part of an infinitely greater whole? Our history is marked by discoveries that overturned our worldview. Copernicus removed us from the center of the cosmos. Darwin took us off the throne of creation. Relativity showed us that space and time are not absolute. But contact with an alien civilization could be the greatest cognitive revolution of all. Such a discovery could unite humanity, or divide it irreparably. It could usher in a new era of international cooperation, or ignite panic, conflict, even wars for control of information. The temptation for certain powers to keep the signal secret, to study it for military or technological advantage, would be immense. That is why transparency is the cornerstone of the SETI protocol. All data, signals, and analyses must be made public. Only then can we ensure that the first contact becomes an opportunity for evolution, not domination. But there is another, more unsettling possibility. That the message is not a greeting but a test. A fragment of information sent into the universe to see who responds, how, and with what means. A lure. A cultural or technological probe meant to identify civilizations capable of replying. And what if the sender were so advanced as to be inconceivable to us? The difference between us and a galactic civilization could be greater than that between us and an amoeba. We might not even be able to understand the intentions behind the message, or interpret it correctly. Some scientists believe that the silence of the universe, the so-called Fermi paradox, is the true message. Perhaps advanced civilizations remain silent out of fear or caution. Perhaps responding to a signal is precisely what should never be done. There may exist an unwritten rule. Do not interfere, do not communicate, do not draw attention. Why? Because the universe, like a jungle, might be full of invisible predators. And so, what are we willing to risk just to avoid being alone? But let's imagine the positive scenario. Imagine that the signal comes from a benevolent civilization, eager to share knowledge, ideas, experiences. An entity capable of teaching us what we have not yet discovered, clean energy, interstellar travel, perhaps even new ways of perceiving reality. A civilization not threatening, but wise. How would we react? Could we comprehend what they offer? Is our society ready for a quantum leap in understanding the universe? The truth is that no one can answer these questions with certainty. But what we can do is prepare. And that preparation must not be solely scientific, it must also be cultural, ethical, and political. Preparing for contact means educating people to understand that we are not the center of the universe, that intelligence can take many forms, and that dialogue, even with the unknown, is an enormous responsibility. The message we will send, if we ever write it, must represent not only our species but what we aspire to be. Not only what we know, but what we hope for. Not only our history, but our vision of the future. And for this reason, its content cannot be decided by a few individuals. It must emerge from a global dialogue involving scientists, philosophers, artists, anthropologists, a message, in short, that embodies the best version of humanity. Perhaps it will be a mathematical sequence, a binary code, an image of DNA's structure, a greeting built upon universal logic. Perhaps it will include a depiction of our solar system, a map of Earth, or the brainwaves of human thought. But whatever form it takes, that message will be our cosmic calling card. And it will be judged. Then there is an often overlooked but crucial aspect: waiting. Between sending the message and receiving a potential reply, centuries could pass. This raises a fundamental question. Are we writing for ourselves, or for our descendants? The first contact might be a slow process, stretched over timescales incompatible with human lives. There may never be a dialogue, only a cosmic monologue. And yet, even just knowing that someone listened, responded, thought of us, could change everything. This perspective demands a new kind of responsibility, an intergenerational one. Like the great human undertakings, medieval cathedrals, space probes, libraries, the message to the stars could be a legacy preserved through time. A testimony of our existence, our desire to know and to connect. Ultimately, the idea of receiving a message from another civilization is not merely a scientific matter. It is a lens through which we can observe ourselves, our values, our fears, our hopes. It forces us to ask who we are, where we are going, and what we wish to become. And if one day that signal truly arrives, the steady heartbeat of a distant intelligence saying, "We are here," the real answer will not be in the words we send back, but in the maturity with which we face that moment. Because that day, finally, we will no longer be alone in the universe. But we will be, perhaps for the first time, truly human. If you've made it this far, it means you love curiosity as much as we do. If you enjoyed this journey, leave a like, write a comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support what we do. Your presence truly makes a difference. Until the next exploration.